Well, hello and welcome to another edition of Be Still My Soul. And today we are looking at one of the most beautiful Psalms, one of the most lovely Psalms in the book of Psalms, and that is Psalm 45. It's titled A Love Song, and that's what it is. It describes a royal wedding between Solomon, King Solomon, and his Egyptian bride. This was a national and a religious occasion, but it pointed forward to the ultimate wedding, which is of God's Son, Jesus Christ, the ultimate King, and his bride, the church. And that's how I want us to think about it. You see, in this psalm, we see Jesus Christ, the true and perfect bridegroom. We see his beautiful bride, the church, and we see the blessings of their union together. In verse 1, the writer is carried away. He says, "My heart overflows with a pleasing theme. I address my verses to the king. My tongue is like the pen of a ready scribe." He wants to put pen to paper because his theme is so happy and so wonderful. He has to express it, and he wants others to read about it. And what is his theme? Well, his theme involves, first of all, the bridegroom, the ultimate bridegroom. And the ultimate bridegroom is not Solomon, as we will see, although he was a beautiful king, but his great descendant, Jesus Christ. We see, first of all, the person of the bridegroom. Verse 2, "You are the most handsome of the sons of men. Grace is poured upon your lips. Therefore God has blessed you forever. Gird your sword in your thigh, Almighty One, in your splendor and majesty. In your majesty ride out victoriously for the cause of truth and meekness and righteousness. Let your right hand teach you awesome deeds. Your arrows are sharp in the heart of the king's enemies. The peoples fall under you." He describes the beauty of the bridegroom, the beauty of Jesus Christ, and he's exceptionally beautiful. He's more beautiful than anyone else. Now, Solomon himself was a beautiful man, but it's interesting that he describes Jesus Christ in beautiful language here, because Isaiah says in Isaiah 53 that he had no form or beauty that we should desire him. So what was his beauty? Well, his beauty involves his speech. His speech is beautiful, it's attractive. Grace is poured upon your lips, the writer says. And he's constantly speaking in grace. And when you read about him in the Gospels, you see how he's so gracious in his language. But also, he's beautiful because of his stand for truth. He stands for the cause of truth. Jesus is the truth, the way, the truth, and the life. He's truthful and faithful in all his ways. But he's also victorious. Your arrows are sharp in the heart of the king's enemies. The peoples fall under you. Jesus Christ is the victorious, triumphing king. And he triumphed through his cross. On the cross, he defeated death. He defeated sin. He defeated the devil, his ultimate enemy. He conquered. He was victorious. But also the bridegroom is described not only in his person, but in his position. Verse 6, "Your throne, O God, is forever and ever. The scepter of your kingdom is a scepter of uprightness. You've loved righteousness and hated wickedness. Therefore God, your God, has anointed you with the oil of gladness beyond your companions." You see, this psalm can't refer to Solomon because although Solomon was a great king, he was not God. And this psalm is talking about God himself. He's talking about a God king whose reign will last forever and forever. He's anointed to rule his kingdom righteously and justly forever. And that can only refer to Jesus Christ. In fact, these words in verse 6 are picked up again in the book of Hebrews. You see, Jesus Christ is the ultimate king who will reign forever and forever. And here we're told not only of his reign, but we're also told of his pride. He says, your robes are all fragrant with myrrh and aloes and cassia. From ivory palaces, stringed instruments make you glad. Daughters of kings are among your ladies of honor. At your right hand stands the queen in gold forever. He's so beautiful that it's as if his robes are infused with spices. And his pride is not just in his clothing, but also in his bride and his entourage. The daughters of kings are part of his group. Kings of the earth want their daughters to join Solomon's team because of how beautiful he is. But the psalm goes on not just to speak about the ultimate bridegroom, but the ultimate bride, which is the church, the bride of Christ. And first of all, the psalm talks about the church's allegiance. Hear, O daughter, and consider and incline your ear. Forget your people and your father's house. 4 commands emphasize the need of the bride to leave behind her old way of life, her old allegiances, and to attach herself truly to her bridegroom. That's what every bride wants to do on her wedding day. That's what the church should do. Leave aside all other allegiances and attach itself to Jesus Christ and to him alone. But he goes on to talk not only about her allegiance, but her delight. Verse 11, and the king will desire your beauty. Since he is your Lord, bow to him. The people of Tyre will seek your favor with gifts, the richest of the people. See, as the bride delights in her husband, the bridegroom, so the bridegroom in turn delights in his bride. See, Jesus Christ delights in you and me. Jesus Christ loves you and me. He loved us so much that he went to the cross to die for us, to lay down his life for us. That's how much he loves us. That's how much he continues to delight over us. He rejoices over us with singing. And when others see the delight that God has in his people, as the others see the devotion the church has to Christ, they will offer gifts. They will want to honor the bride, because by doing that, they will honor God himself. Her appearance is beautiful. Verse 13, oh, glorious is the princess in her chamber, with robes interwoven with gold. In many-coloured robes, she's led to the king with her virgin companions following behind her. She's beautiful to look at. Now, the clothing here is a picture of the inner beauty of the church, which is the righteousness which Christ gives us. You see, the way the church looks beautiful is by living holy and righteous lives. That's what we were created to do. And finally, we're told about her homecoming. Verse 15, with joy and gladness they are led along as they enter the palace of the king. You see, where does the church belong? It belongs with Jesus Christ. The bride belongs with the bridegroom. And where is the palace of the bridegroom? It is heaven itself. In fact, it's this world changed and transformed under the rule of the ultimate bridegroom. It's heaven on earth. You see, that's where we belong. Our home is in heaven because our home is with Jesus Christ. And then finally, in verses 16 and 17, we see the blessings that come from the relationship between Jesus Christ, the bridegroom, and his church, his bride. We're told 3 things about this union. First of all, the descendants that will come from it. In place of your fathers shall be your sons. You will make them princes in all the earth. You see, the future for God's people, the future it is that we will be kings and princes reigning and ruling on the earth. But second, we're told that we will have our name remembered. Verse 17, I will cause your name to be remembered in all generations. We'll have an immortal name. That's something we all want. None of us want to be forgotten. You know, we're coming up to Remembrance, thinking about Remembrance Day, and what do we say at Remembrance time? We say, we will never forget. We don't want to be forgotten. We want to be remembered. We want to have a name, and our name is connected to Jesus Christ. We are his bride, and we will be remembered as such forever. And finally, we see the honor. Therefore, nations will praise you forever and ever. You see, the honor of nations will come into the church. We see that in Revelation, because they will honor God himself. They will honor the bridegroom, and so they will praise the bride. See, that is the future for you and me as the bride of Christ. What a beautiful picture we have here. Thanks so much for tuning in. Till next week, God bless.